Welcome back pals to this video where I will start a new series of countdowns, starting off with The Legend of Zelda. There are many features you can make a top 5 or top 10 list about in the Zelda games, like dungeons, bosses, characters, items and so on. And for this first video in the series, I chose to go with my personal top 5 dungeons in the Legend of Zelda series. First of all, I've unfortunately only played the 3D Zeldas, meaning the only games that will be on this list is Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Wind Waker, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. Secondly, keep in mind that this is my personal opinions. Your list may be completely different than mine. We start off with the dungeon from Twilight Princess. I enjoy most of the temples in this game, even though I'm not a big fan of the city in the sky, and the Lake Bell temple is just a pain in the ass. But other than that, they're all pretty good. One of the temples that stood out to me has made the number 5 spot. If we cross the rivers, go past Sora's domain, and climb a tall snowy mountain, we find ourselves at Snow Peak Ruins. This temple feels different from the rest in the game, actually pretty different from Zelda temples in general. First off, let's look at how you get to this place. You are climbing this mountain and you get a beautiful view once you reach high enough. And the music that plays in the background is just magical. It's so calm, not sad, not creepy, but something in between that we call mysterious. It wouldn't fit better anywhere else than on a snowy mountain. You feel really lonely when listening to this piece, like you're far, far away. Getting to the top and the game suddenly goes from The Legend of Zelda to Snowboard Kids, as you race down this mountain to the Yeti's sweet home. And guess what? Their home is the temple. It's a temple that's hidden far, far away, in a huge snowy mountain. Only that makes this temple feel special. The music in the temple fits the atmosphere perfectly. 2 Yetis are there, cooking soup and chilling in front of the fireplace. But the music makes you think that something is wrong. I really enjoy the puzzles in this dungeon. You have a cannon for free use, and you bring food to upgrade the soup. And it also holds one of the most badass items in the game. Sure, it's heavy to carry in hands, but put it in your pocket, and bam, problem fixed. The boss is also, well, creepy. The Exorcist isn't for kids, but Zelda is. See the paradox? Well, I personally love this temple. We're moving over to Ocarina of Time for this number 4 spot. And nope, it's not the water temple that everybody loves. Instead, we're moving from the wet Lake Hylia to the dry Gerudo Valley. We walk through a little sandstorm and we arrive at the Spirit Temple. The final temple in the game if you don't count Gen's Castle. This dungeon delivers atmosphere, great puzzles and an interesting twist of gameplay. Previously you completed the temple as either young or adult Link, but here you need both, and that's why I love this temple so much. The Spirit Temple has so much symbolism, and that's what makes it feel so creepy but amazing at the same time. And the puzzles are good but challenging, and I have to admit, when I played through this temple on Master Quest, I had to look up a walkthrough here and there. You get the badass looking mirror shield as a temple item, leading to clever use of its reflecting abilities. And back to the growing up part. You complete about half of the temple before you need to return to the Temple of Time, going 7 years into the future before returning and finishing off your work. Only that makes this temple feel amazing. And the bosses, Kotake and Kowum, put up a fun battle. And the creepy thing? They say they will come back to haunt you. And guess what? In the sequel, Majora's Mask, they return as friendly potion sellers. As I mentioned before, Twilight Princess have some good temples, fitting well with the game's dark atmosphere. And Hyrule Castle is no exception. Being the final temple in the game, it sure gets the job done. After entering the gates, you meet Hyrule Castle itself. So big, so majestic, so legendary. But everything is so quiet. There is no music playing, only the sound of rain falling, which immediately makes you realize that something isn't how it should be. Probably the fact that Ganondorf has taken over, but that's another story. In the outside area you are using items like the Dominion Rod, and you have some interesting events, like rematch with this fat fella. Finally, after the puzzles are solved, you're able to enter the castle's walls. And dang, what a feeling that is. I first expected it to be more like Gen's Castle from Ocarina of Time, with robots, dark music and generally a dark feeling. But what you get is even more chilling. You are presented with a gigantic hall, and what makes this so special is the music. We've heard the Hyrule Castle theme several times before, but not like this. This version of the soundtrack just echoes in the walls, through your ears and all the way over to your neighbor's house. This theme is so mysterious, Not a dark, Ganon, shadowish, panicish type, but this creepy, empty, amazingly composed version of the Hyrule Castle theme. It actually sounds like the song is coming from deep within the castle's corridors. The temple itself is a great design, combining both human and wolf link, different items, and a fun fight in every corner. But the best part about this is the fact that the music changes as you progress through the castle. As you approach the top, the theme slowly fades from the Hyrule Castle theme to the familiar Ganon's theme, giving you a feeling that you're getting closer and closer to the King of Evil. It's simply amazing. Some would say that the Wind Waker has fairly easy temples, but that doesn't mean they are bad. Wind Waker is maybe my most favorite Zelda game of all time, because of its amazing story, the exploration, fun gameplay and all of that good stuff. And there's one temple that I'm always looking forward to play through, the tall and mighty Tower of the Gods. Not only does it have one of the most epic dungeon themes ever, but the whole concept around it is genius, and the temple is massive. And that's cool, right? The first part of Wind Waker is about collecting the 3 sacred pearls, Din's, Pharaoh's and Nairu's pearl, before placing them on a statue each in the 3 triangle islands. Together they form a Triforce symbol, and the Tower of the Gods is seen rising from the ocean. The story behind the tower is epic as well, as it's a temple to test the hero. This is kind of Wind Waker's water temple, as the first half of the temple is really connected to water in some way. The water rise and sink regularly in every room in the first floor, so you have to time your actions when doing the different tasks. Once you climb upwards in the tower, you learn the command song, and you have to escort 3 statues back to a big room, using the command melody to control the statues yourself. When finally climbing to the top, you will soon reach the boss. And yep, it's another Nintendo floating head then hands cliché boss. But that doesn't matter, because I like it. The feeling of defeating the robot made by the gods, climbing to the very top, and ringing the big bell is just so satisfying. Oh, and it also opens the portal to one of the most special moments in Zelda history. That's what I think at least. All in all, this temple can be challenging, but it's fun, it has a great atmosphere, and I love it. My number 1 Zelda dungeon is actually a dungeon I previously didn't care for. It's just recently that I've understood how brilliant this temple actually is. It's not a temple from Majora's Mask, nor Wind Waker, Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. Instead, we once again move over to Ocarina of Time, the first 3D Zelda game and the second Zelda game I ever played. Going to my number 1 Zelda dungeon, the 3D Zelda games, we end up in the dark, frightening Forest Temple. Where do I begin? Even though the Shadow Temple from this same game can give you even more nightmares than this one, it just cannot top the real creepiness inside the whole Forest Temple. Let's look at how you actually get to this place. The first part of Ocarina of Time is about you as a young Link. You go through a few dungeons that aren't really massive temples, but more like obstacles in the way. They are short, fairly easy and doesn't have any small keys. It's first when you open the door of time, you grab the Master Sword and you travel 7 years into the future that things are starting to happen. You are now an adult, Ganondorf has taken over and the whole Hyrule is under his command. Well, nearly at least. This is where the serious part of the game begins, and you start to realize that this isn't a job for kids anymore. And what is the first temple you go to as an adult? Well, you return to your homeland, the Kokiri Forest, and you get a nostalgic feeling. Everything is just as you remembered. It's peaceful, calm, and everyone there is friendly, just like they were 7 years ago. Then you go deep within the woods, and you see a temple entrance, and once you enter there, shit starts to happen. By first entering the Forest Temple, I get a feeling that I return to a place that I kind of remember but has changed drastically. This is the first real temple in Ocarina of Time, located in your peaceful hometown, and damn is it dark. It's dark, it's creepy, it has paintings all around, staircases, and also some outer areas that are pretty beautiful actually. But the best thing about this temple, as I've said with previous temples as well, is the music. To me, this is the most frightening dungeon theme ever in Zelda. I mean, just have a listen to this. Imagine being met with this music, twisted corridors, wall masters, ghosts, Phantom Ganon, and a lot more, after running around as a child not really sure what to do. This temple is amazing, and it also gives you one of the most iconic Zelda items ever, the bow and arrow. To me, nothing can top this temple when it comes to the 3D Zeldas. But hell, this is just my opinion, right? I'm really curious to hear what your top 5 Zelda dungeon is, so I'd love it if you could post a comment below telling me what your favorite temples are. And I want to say just thank you so very much for watching, and if you could drop a like rating on this video, it would really help me out. And don't forget to click that subscribe button there to stay up to date with all of my videos. And what do you want me to make a top 5 of next time? I thought about top 5 creepy things in Zelda, but if you don't like it, then make sure to tell me. If you think that's a good idea, make sure to tell me that as well. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.